and welcome to Culture Foolishness, Season 2, Episode 2. I am Creed of Exit Studios, Architects and Minds.com, and my co host, Ian.
Coach Tamara Simone, your favorite life coach's favorite life coach. If you don't know, now you know. Baby, baby.
There you go. There you go. You got to finish that. You got to,
No,
it's just,
no, I'll let you finish it, but this time I wanted to rock.
you felt like it. I see. So, today's subject matter, we're basically catching up from all of the foolishness that's been going on since we've been on hiatus. So we're doing another culture news, and this one, the subject is the new Kendrick album and its impact on the culture. Not as much an album review, and then we're also going to talk about Drake and his little lawsuit with UMG and the validity of that and such. So, with that being said, um I like the new Kendrick. Definitely not his best album, but he has given us some hits and a vibe that is definitely not what he normally is known for. I mean, he'll give you some type of radio-ish song that got a little vibe to it, but he got some like literal club bangers this time, which is crazy for him.
Yeah, you really don't hear his songs in a club like that. And I feel like these will be songs you can play in the club for sure.
Yeah, he definitely went for a different feel. I mean, I think Mustard did produce the whole album, and if he didn't, it's the majority of it because it's his style is all throughout.
Mm.
So it's kind of cool. Just I've been living in California for almost 10 years at this point, but um, to unify the Bay and LA is a big thing for California. So that's really dope that they're working together, and the result is Chef's Kiss.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest Kendrick fan per se. Like I don't dislike his music, but I don't it doesn't necessarily move me all too tough. Like if he drops something new, then I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. I'm not like running to Apple Music to like play immediately. Um, so uh, when I heard he dropped a surprise joint, I was like, oh, that's tight. And I didn't think anything of it. Yes, I've heard it because
Mhm.
my husband is very, very much so the opposite. So he dropped everything he was doing and listened to it and made me listen to it repeatedly. So um,
So you got held hostage to listen to it sound like.
um essentially yes. Yes, which is why he's getting held hostage to watch these low budget Christmas movies.
Well,
So
it's a trade-off. That's what marriage is. It's a
yes indeed.
compromise. So you had to,
Absolutely.
let him have his moment. Now he gotta let you have your moment. That's just what it
Yes.
is.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, like it was some bops on there that I like. You know, this I always found a couple bops on his projects
Yeah,
that
for
that I
sure.
rock with. Um, I just don't necessarily be like, oh, let me put this in a rotation immediately. Although some I do. Like I like the Heart Six. I like the Heart Five. I love the Heart Five. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
that was really good.
that
Yeah.
was incredible. Like so I don't but yeah, it's some Kendra maniacs out there, and I'm not a part of that
Well, it's
squad.
it's just interesting because and I think just my personality in general, but so many other factors. I look at this in such an objective way, in a way that I'm also kind of like on the outside of it, kind of observing everything. And
Hmm.
it's really interesting how fanatical people are about this. Like, I'm not gonna stop listening to Drake and Drake songs that I like because Kendrick
First of
made
all,
a diss and a good album. I'm just not doing that.
and let's
And
be clear,
I'm
this
gonna
is
enjoy that as well.
yeah, like this is not Drake's season right now.
No,
And
it's not
that's
gonna be for
okay.
a minute.
But don't act like he ain't been on a wave for like over for like 15 years. Like, and I think that's my problem with a lot of folks. And this is not swaying one way over the other, but 15 years, like has an amazing catalog of just bops and memories. And literally over the last 15 years, somehow his songs are in the soundtrack of our lives in some capacity. And because he's taking an L right now, then literally everyone is just like, screw him, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing that happened with the Will Smith slap. 30
It's
years that man ain't did nothing. And the one time he falls short, then everybody turn their back on him.
it's so many different instances you could use as examples. Like I was just watching some stuff with Kyrie Irving earlier, and he was dropping straight jewels, but people wrote him off completely when that stuff was going on with that whole incident with the
With the
link
jab.
sharing and
Yeah.
the Jewish, anti-Semitic thing and all of that. And it's just like,
Also with the vax, all of that.
oh, so many things, he
Yeah.
had that, so it was like compounded. I almost forgot about that because the last thing was the media thing with the
Mm-hmm.
video sharing. But yeah, you're right with the jab. So he was just, doing his thing based on his own views, but people don't really like people who do stuff to their own accord. They want people that's gonna fall
Yeah.
in line with the program. But that's a whole nother
That's a whole nother
conversation.
topic for another day.
Literally. But back to the album. So one of my favorite songs off of there is Squabble Up, obviously, because that's the one that was the snippet before the
Yeah,
Not
you've
Like
been talking
Us.
about that song.
Right, because I
Yes.
was like, what was that? What was that? Yeah, you want this Drake, whatever. What was that song before the video though? That was crazy. So
And shouts out to the Wayans. That TikTok they did was great.
who?
The Wayans. I know you ain't seen the one with Damon Wayans and his son did a TikTok to Squabble. I sent it to you. Y'all,
I
he did.
didn't watch it.
See, it's a great TikTok. Anywho,
Well, I'll catch it later. But I didn't watch it. You probably sent it while I was busy, and sometimes I don't be getting to shit. It's we're adulting now, unfortunately.
I'm gonna let him have it, y'all. Definitely sent it to him like while we were on the phone. But anywho, back to the topic at hand.
So that song, man, I like the first song on there. Hold on, let me pull up this playlist. I'm not gonna be phony and act like I'm not looking at something off screen. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all because y'all keep it real with me.
Well, hey, as it should be. So yeah. Well, I like the Heart Six. Like I said, shots. I love a good. I feel like the SWV samples just be like top tier.
Yo, that was cold. When I was like, I like what's happening right now because just for reference, like anybody that's watching this, listening to this, that's like, a hip hop fan like that. This generation of rappers, the Kendricks, the Freddie Gibbs, the all these different artists that's in that different age group. I feel like they paying a homage to Ghostface Killer because he would take the songs from his youth, which were
Mm,
70s, 60s songs, do a whole crazy verse on the song. And
mm-hmm.
now I'm seeing artists do it, but with 90s stuff when they was kids. So it's dope.
Yeah,
Definitely like to see, people be creative.
yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
So the other song I like off of there before I get into some other ones, so I gotta get a little deeper, but that TV off joint, that's gonna be problem for a while. Like, did you see the tweet with Mustard? He was like, I was walking
Yes,
down the street screaming Mustard, and I forgot I was Mustard.
yes, yes, I saw that.
I was like, yeah, I get it though. I get it though. But yeah, it's the only thing, and it's funny because it got explained, but when I first saw it, I was kind of like, this aesthetic shift is interesting for Kendrick because I'm a big Larry June fan, and aesthetically, when I first saw this, I was like, somebody a Larry June fan inviting somebody a little bit? Cause
Oh,
yeah, for real. The baseball caps when he wasn't wearing on my album covers. He got a plain leather jacket. That's the Larry June thing. The only thing that is taking the detail away from him is that belt that's like all ornate and shit. That
mm.
the GNX uh Grand National X, whatever. June been showing them type of cars on his album covers for years already. So I was like, talking about Willis and but when they are, when they started talking about the actual reason, the connection, like he literally was driven to his mom was driven to the hospital to have him in that car. You know what I'm saying? So it
Oh,
was
wow.
very much a deeper, reasoning
Yeah.
behind it. So I was like, okay. And you from California. It's not like June invented wearing baseball caps and playing stuff and all this different aesthetics. Plus, and it was funny because people in the comments when they was posting stuff of that album initially, and it was like a lot of people in LA like, yeah, this LA, this da da da, and then somebody from Detroit or Chicago was like, no, we be fucking with that too though, because our car culture is just
Oh, yeah.
different, but we might not do the low riders and shit. Obviously, from a weather standpoint, I think it's probably a big factor on that. But man, if we didn't see some classic Monte Carlos and Regals and all them different old cutlasses and all this on 20s and all, we was growing up with that. So we definitely got that culture.
Yeah. Yeah. They forget about us, but we here. Midwest is here.
I mean, Midwest is huge car culture. I mean, think of
I
Detroit. They
know. I
really
know.
put the cars that the other places are claiming and had a car culture was made in the Midwest. So it still was the source, just like everything, to be honest. Because think about all the artists from Detroit, Chicago, like literally guide the course of whole genres of music.
Yes,
Crazy,
for sure.
crazy.
Yes.
So, what's another aspect of this album? So, I feel personally, as far as like compared to his catalog, it's probably the most commercially viable album. Like, he made something that was like almost a because I feel like some of the disses Drake was even saying during, the back and forth was kind of alluding to like, oh, you can't sell this, you can't do this, whatever. And it's like, no, I can. I was just trying to be deep, but watch when I don't. I'm gonna just give you, and it's still gonna be fire. So I think that's a big aspect of it.
I could see that. I would just um I low key kind of hope that stuff like this is like one offish. Like, I don't want Kendrick to turn like uber duper commercial. Like, that's not the Kendrick that, his fan base is not that for real.
No. So I think
Um,
in the energy of what's been going on, it's being accepted, but I don't think if he trying to shift into this kind of like, oh, now I'm just going for like the radio bops, like people gonna be like,
no, he'll gain the radio crowd, but
but
he'll lose
he'll
the
lose,
core.
and that's the problem, and you don't want to do that. Plus,
I
in
mean,
this pocket, he kind of like super winning because you got your core still fucking with you, and you gaining more fans.
um, are they fans or are they just riding a wave in a moment?
Might be, but either way,
I don't consider
it's
that a
gonna
fan
be
for real.
people within that that's gonna hear it, and they might become more in the other group. Just exposing it.
Possibly. And
Mhm.
the only reason why I say that I hope that he doesn't make the switch is because I always felt like, even though in hindsight I could see that it was a little bit more strategic than what I just initially looked at it as. But when you look at like Ja Rule and 50, like 50 ruined that man's career so that he could just turn around and do the same thing.
That's the thing about that that's so diabolical. Once you really break it down, it's like, oh, he was in the way of you really doing what he was doing. That's all you
Right.
did. And the fucked up thing is, if we're being honest and real, Ja Rule was better than him at doing that.
Oh, for sure.
Way better.
For sure. For
Like
sure.
the 50 Cent songs I like are more harder. They're not with the softness that Ja Rule was able to inject and still maintain this kind of edgy thugness to it. So,
But the problem is that Ja Rule's edgy thugness was fake. And that was 50's whole problem with him.
mm,
Um, like, I feel like maybe if he had only stepped to the Christina Milian, Ashanti, Lil Mo joints, then he would probably still be, what I'm saying, maybe not uber relevant, but he wouldn't have went out the way he went out versus and this is just after I just read 50 Cent's book. So
oh,
like
word, which one?
his book, Hustle Harder, not Hustle Smarter,
Oh,
Hustle Harder. Yes, Hustle Smarter, Hustle Harder. It's very, very, very good book.
you might
But
need
so
to let me borrow that.
he mentions in the book that his issue with Ja Rule was like, it wasn't necessarily the love the commercial songs. It was him acting like he was something he wasn't. He was like, dude, you grew up Jehovah's Witness. You used to knock on our doors trying to sell us the pamphlets. Like, don't try to act like you're this when I know you that.
So essentially, this has parallels to the Kendrick and Drake beef from
Y'all
that
thought we were veering
regard.
off, but we weren't.
Never that. It's always gonna be relevant.
Well, not always,
That's
but
well,
yeah,
sometimes we go off on tangents. Excuse us, but it's
because I'm gonna
still
give y'all a
entertaining.
tangent ever so often.
But no,
But
that's dope. Okay, I get it now. Okay.
mhm, yes, yes. So that was kind of that thing, and so I feel like, yes, to bring it back to the Kendrick and Drake thing, that it is kind of a resemblance to that because Drake be moving in a way that is like, so like, perfect example. Drake didn't cut his hair, shouts at, look, Kendrick, if you had to get on his niggas for him to cut his hair, No, he cut
What?
his hair. No, he's back to Heartbreak Drake. Like, no, he's
Oh,
back to,
oh, so I saw, you know what's funny? I saw a picture of him with short hair and
and you thought it was, no,
I thought
no,
it was, oh, this is recent.
three
He cut
days
that
ago.
bullshit off.
Three
Okay.
days ago.
Oh
Right. So I'm
yeah,
like,
he trying to
hey,
get back on some hard
he,
body shit
but
again.
so the throwback of him with the pigtails popped up, and it was on the side by side with Snoop Dogg also wearing pigtails. And I never saw the correlation because when Snoop did it, it just was cool. It was just like it was somebody that you kind of it was real respected as a rapper, and they did that, but their hair was always a thing. With Drake, it was just like this nigga he wants to go to the ice cream truck. Like, I don't know what he's trying to do. Like, I never looked at it like, and like low key, one thing I don't particularly care for, especially in more recent years, is that Drake don't necessarily be paying homage, he be trolling. He used to pay homage. He trolls now. So like he wasn't paying homage to Snoop doing that low key. He was trolling,
Mm,
in my opinion.
hmm. Interesting.
So but it didn't like, or if you were trying to pay homage, then it just didn't look it just didn't look right. It just wasn't the move. And I say he was trolling just like he when he did that AI thing with Tupac. Like that's
That was
trolling.
some horse shit. I
That
did
was
not like that.
trash.
I did not like that at all. I really
None of us. And then you did it with Snoop, like Snoop up the street. Like, what are you
he
doing? Like, what?
alive. Like, what are
Like
you
he's
talking
literally up
about?
the street somewhere doing something that no
Up
one
the street
expects him to
from
do.
him. Because this
Right.
fool got cribs in LA too.
That's what I'm saying. He was
Man.
up the street from him. Snoop was probably doing something because he do whatever he want that no one expects. But when you see it, you just really don't care. You just shrug your shoulders and be like, "Well, this Snoop, so
It's
whatever."
Snoop.
But he was in proximity, and you did it, and it was weird. And see, you troll now, Aubrey. You don't pay homage like you used to, and
Mm.
that's unfortunate to say the least. Do we want to veer off into the lawsuit situation
Honestly, it's probably a good time
to segue
because
into that?
segue into that. So he's suing UMG because he is claiming that Kendrick's song "Not Like Us" was the numbers were inflated on the streams in an attempt to devalue Drake to, have more leverage in negotiating his next contract.
Because
That's
he's
essentially
renegotiating his contract and
right.
he's trying to get a higher number than what's being offered. And what better way than to show someone that their value is less than this? To say, like,
Exactly.
you're taking an L right now, take this that we're offering you. Because we're taking a
Hmm.
risk at the point in your career where you are now.
Hmm.
So it's
Which is some
trash.
bullshit for real. Cause one thing about entertainment, and I've seen it many times, people be saying all this, that, and the third. Let somebody make some infectious thing, and that's that next thing. They're gonna be right back on their dick,
Oh yeah, for sure. Because
so
the Drake and Pusha T beef, like
which in theory, Pusha T won that, and it still didn't really
it
make
didn't even
Drake not be
matter.
able to still
Drop some hot
make
shit
hit
immediately. It was like,
songs
oh,
and
okay,
all
like
that
we right
shit.
back. Look, we right
Be
back in
right
it.
back. Like, who cares? So
Right, like what?
I mean, just honestly, the fact that he cut his hair is a precursor that he probably about to, he was trying to sit his ass
That man
down
was trying to sit down and be with Adonis, and then as soon as he said he gonna relax, y'all jumped him. That's crazy. It's like he
because
was
it
walking home
was
from school, trying to man his, trying to get home and watch cartoons, and then y'all just jumped him.
literally 4 to 5 people at once was on his head, which is crazy. But on the flip side, because I'm always gonna
All right,
play
we
devil's
gonna play. Yeah,
advocate.
I'll play God's
Um,
advocate.
right,
You
I
play devil's
know,
advocate.
right.
But
But I feel like he definitely has been doing stuff
for sure.
that has inspired this animosity towards him to where it went the way it went. There's no
Cause
way.
folks ain't gonna you ain't just minding your business and then everybody just be like, no, let's get him. Like
Mhm.
I'm like it has to be motivated by something. And the streets are kind of talking that Ari be kind of moving real funny style
Yeah.
behind the scenes, but he's low key enough to where the masses it doesn't get out to the masses. So we just
Mhm.
like, hey, what y'all doing that to him for? And meanwhile,
He
they
wants the
like
most.
this nigga keep fucking my baby mama. Like that's why. And I'm like, well, you chose her. Like
Some of it is like a you problem for real, but I mean, I guess.
but at the same time, like this your man's and then you shouldn't even be trying that. So like
And that
I
and
get
and there's that's where it comes back to because it's like you shouldn't even be on that, but you ain't shit for some reason. And I think it's because unless it's somebody in his inner circle from Canada and maybe some Memphis people that he grew up around through his dad, he don't got no allegiance to none of these industry
nah,
niggas. He like fuck all
nah.
y'all in the ear.
I
Cause
mean, did he not
and
say it in the song? No friends in the industry. Niggas, when you
and
niggas ain't no
and
friend of me.
and because how they gonna do him? While you talking, because all them same niggas complaining, if they had a chance to fuck some bitches he was fucking with, they would have too.
Probably
But a
did.
lot
Like
of
I
them
just like
probably did, and maybe some of them couldn't because maybe they was too ugly and it didn't matter they was rich. Because that happens too. Because
that
some of y'all
does.
have standards, regardless of the resources. Like, fuck you. I do not care.
Like,
Matt,
there's not
like
enough money to make me let
a
any of
girl that
that
I
touch
used to
me.
date, literally had rappers and basketball players and all them, and she was like, "Yeah, they're stupid, some of them. So I just really don't even want to be bothered." So people gonna have standards towards what is important to them, regardless
Oh
of
yeah, for sure.
somebody,
For
having
sure.
resources. And I feel like when people be in their feelings, they might be able to get everything in the world, but they just got them 2 or 3 rejections on their resume, and that just fuck with them.
Yeah, yeah. So going back to the lawsuit, um, give us a little bit more of your take on the lawsuit, as far as it having merit, as far as
Well, I feel
and in
like
what realm does it have merit? Because I feel like it has merit in one realm and not the other.
right. So it has merit in a realm of him trying to get a negotiate his contract and get a number that he's trying to get, but in the realm of a hip hop battle,
It's a no.
it's a big fucking no. And that is like cutting him off at the knees right now because the
Charlemagne said,
perception. What did he
sorry,
say?
Charlemagne said in a on his podcast 6 months ago when Not Like Us first dropped that Drake was going to sue. He said it 6 months ago. He literally called it. Literally called it.
And it's like, mm,
That is not
I,
something you want to be right about.
I'm gonna say it, even though it's probably controversial, but I'm just gonna say it anyway because they out here getting all the red flags and 9 brownie points on Earth right now. But the fact that this dude is half Jewish and then want to sue somebody that he in a rap battle with, or not directly, but based on that, it's like,
You got to like
why are you basically making everything everybody say about you be true? You're suing somebody, dog.
you're suing a record company because you're saying that they kind of orchestrated this in an effort to devalue you so that they wouldn't have to pay you what you feel you are worth. And so, do I think that record labels will do something like that? Absolutely. Go play with somebody else because they've orchestrated a lot of beefs. We're never going to act like a record label ain't never orchestrated or benefited from a beef in some capacity. However, from a just purely hip hop stand, you don't do that. If you
because
gonna take an L,
now,
because now you take an L, you sit your ass down, you let it die down. So we're very forgetful in this day and age. It'll blow over. The
but it's
only thing
hard
that's
to
keeping
forget a lawsuit though, and that's
right,
the
the only
problem with
thing
what he
that's
doing.
keeping it like on fire is
It's
you
you.
adding this ether to it. And so like it's like if you let it die, it'll die. But every time it's trying to die, then you add more lighter fluid to it. So like that's the issue. Sometimes you gotta hold an L now so that you can capture the overall W like later. Like perfect example, since I brought up ether, that shit that make your soul burn slow. The Jay-Z and Nas battle, Nas won. No, like he called them in a tabo hole. Like he won, but and like everything is good between them two now, but in that moment, Hope had to hold that, and then it was just, he let it die, and then he came back and wasn't nobody like, and you lost that battle, so we ain't fucking with you no more. Like no, it was like, oh,
Because
this
we
shit is
came
hot.
out with some fire and we was good. Like, because let me see. After that, that was, let's see, the Blueprint, then Stillmatic. I think it was the Blueprint too, which
I
had,
believe so,
didn't that have '03 Bonnie and Clyde on there?
possibly.
I'm pretty sure it did. The Blueprint 2 had that on there. So he already came back. He had his boo with him. I think after that he also had did the verse on Dangerous,
Dangerous, Crazy in Love.
Crazy in Love. Jay was
He had the
cool.
baddest chick in the game wearing his chain. It's like, oh, like
I
you moved
mean,
on. No
and
one, no
nobody
one got
cared.
sued.
This is the thing that's so fucked up about Drake. It's like, dog, you're not 12. You witnessed all this shit. So you already know the blueprint. All you had to do was follow it. Just let this shit, after the last shit, all you had to do was chill the fuck out and next year sometime drop some incredibly hot song. Ain't nobody gonna give a fuck about that battle no more because you're gonna have a bop. Because this is the thing, and this is a deeper thing, and I want to say this before we get off, but people are literally a sound frequency holding together all of these atoms. Literally, that's what we are. And people, it's easy to feel because I can touch this. If you got a microscope that could really go to an atomic level, you would see none of these cells are even touching each other. We literally just some type of ether that is
Should make your
physical,
soul burn.
physical that you could touch. But we are really held together by sound. That's why music and all this shit resonate with us so much because we are sound. We sound freezing. What is the thing that's constant in us to keep us alive? A heartbeat, which is what? A bass line. Come on. Like,
We getting deep down.
that's why it affects us so much, especially if you're fans of that certain genre or whatever. And a lot of music don't have direct confrontation like hip hop does. I feel like other ones is definitely subliminal and it
Oh,
stay
it's
that
way more
way. You would
indirect for
never
sure. It's
ever
way more
know.
indirect.
Because I feel like, heavy metal songs, country songs, whatever, they didn't talk about other motherfuckers, but you would never even know it from listening to it. Whereas hip hop is like, that motherfucker right there, I don't like him and fuck him in the ear. And let me tell you 10 ways that you can. But I think on that note, feel
Yeah,
like that was a
on
good
that
little
note,
punchline. Um, we will end this episode of Culture Foolishness, but we will be back very soon, probably next weekish, and talk about the next thing. I think we might get more into a structured
yeah,
uh,
for sure. And if it's
subject.
anything that y'all, the listeners, would like for us to talk about, then feel free to comment
Yes, please.
and
I would
and
love to do that. I would love to do a subject matter that this listeners want to hear. So
request it.
drop that in the comments on YouTube and
Hello.
IG and all of that. So let us know. But on
Yes,
that
indeed.
note, I am Creed of Exodus Studios and architectsofmars.com, and my co-host is,
Coach Camera Simone.
and we will be back next week. A peace, peace.